Let's take a look at a trigonometric graph question here, where we need to sketch two graphs on the same axis. For me, the planning is very simple. The process is the same every single time. We plan maximum, middle, minimum, and then we plan period and also the shape of the graph. Now let's take a look at the cosine graph first. The middle will be the center number 1. Let me write down. How about the maximum? There's no number here. There's going to be a 1 here. So I'm going to do 1 plus 1. There's going to be a 2. And 1 minus 1 will lead to the minimum. So it's a 0 here. Now let's take a look at the tangent graph here. Tangent graph, there's no standard number. That means this is 0. So which means the middle graph here is going to be 0. That means it's the x-axis. Now be careful of tangent graph. There's no amplitude. We draw all the way to positive infinity. And for the minimum, we draw all the way to negative infinity. Next, let's just take a look at period. For cosine graph, since we are drawing in radian mode, I'm going to take 2 pi divided by the number beside x, which is 2. So it's going to be a pi, okay? So I'm going to draw the shape next to this period here. Notice that this is a positive cosine graph. So the shape of a positive cosine graph will be this one here. And then for tangent graph, for period calculation, be a bit careful for tangent. It's going to be pi divided by, there is no number beside x, which is a 1. So we divide by 1. The answer is pi. And let's plan the shape. For tangent here, in this case, is positive. So positive tangent, I will usually draw an asymptote first. And 1 dot on the left, 1 dot on the right. Positive tangent means it's go up first. So we get a positive tangent. One tiny shade of tangent graph. So just make sure that you are very familiar with the planning when you draw trigonometric graph. Very familiar with how to draw shape for one period. And also calculation of period. Be careful for tangent. We use 180 or pi. Let's come back to the question. Let's take a look at this one here. We're going to draw this shape in pi. So notice that this cos graph starts at maximum, ends at maximum. Let's look at maximum. 2. Maximum, ends at maximum. Minimum here is middle of graph, which is 0. So I'm going to plot 0 here. So you can go on to plot the middle, which is at 1 and 1. So you can now draw one cos graph. And we're going to repeat this process here. So make sure you turn a bit so that it will have very smooth cos graph over here. Let's go and sketch this tangent graph. We need to sketch pi, and we have this shape here. So notice the middle is going to be asymptote, the dotted line. So I want to draw this in pi. So middle of it will be pi over 2. So locate pi over 2. We're going to draw the asymptote line first. Then I'll start drawing these 2 dots at the middle, which in this case is going to add x-axis, x-axis. Then draw up first. Draw up, approaching asymptote line. And this one draw down, approaching asymptote line. And we're going to repeat this process here. So the dotted line is going to be at 3 pi over 2. So same process, 1 dot here, 1 dot here. Ones go up, another one goes down. Okay, now let's look at the next part of the question, where we need to state the number of solutions for which cos 2x minus 2 tangent x plus 1 equals to 0. Now let's take a look at this equation over here. I will need to get these 2 tangent x on the left or on the right of this equation. So let me move these to the right hand side. So I'll have cos 2x plus 1 equals to 2 tangent x. So you will know 2 tangent x is function of gx. And cos 2x plus 1 is fx. Which means we're going to look at the point of intersection of these two graphs here. We have 1 intersection and 2 intersection. So this answer here is going to be having 2 solutions. That's all for this question over here.